Next one we want to talk about, and one of your next big takeaways from this past week is Mr. Desmond Ridder. Looking really rough in Atlanta right now, man. We're not sure if he's going to be able to maintain that starting job or maintain a starting job anywhere in the foreseeable future in the National Football League. So your big takeaway is it might be time for Desmond Ridder to take a seat on the pine, on the bench, on the sideline. So why do you feel like this is the case?
Well, if you watch the game Sunday morning, I don't care if you watched it on ESPN or if you watched the Toy Story broadcast, you can see
It
Desmond
was
Ridder was
more
struggling
clear on
out
the
there.
Toy Story broadcast
It
that he was
honestly
terrible.
was. It honestly was. Like I know that there were some people that didn't have ESPN Plus, but they've got Disney Plus because they've got kids, whatever, and they watched that whole game on the Toy Story broadcast, and they probably saw the same things that I saw. Maybe even have a more harsh take towards Desmond Ridder after watching that in live action. And I have no idea how they did that. Credit to Disney and their whole production crew for being able to do that. That's awesome. But back to the matter at hand, and this was a very winnable game for Atlanta. Like, they could have very well won this game. Jacksonville's offense, I still am unsure about. It still looks shaky to me. It has really all season, and it looked shaky again on Sunday, even though, that was practically a home game for them out in London, and they only scored 23 points. 7 of that comes as a direct result of Desmond Ridder throwing a pick six. This offense is ready to go outside of Desmond Ridder. Bijan Robinson, I said it in the offseason, and he looks like the best running back in the NFL. I know Christian McCaffrey's doing his thing in San Francisco and definitely puts together an argument. I think it's 1 and 2, whichever way you want to order it. But Bijan Robinson is playing fantastic. He had a crazy, Desmond Ridder somehow missed through him on a ball 3 yards away, and Bijan Robinson just went up and snatched it like it was a tennis ball. And ended up turning that sack into a first down somehow. Drake London had a touchdown. Kyle Pitts still nowhere to be found. And came out today. Arthur Smith said Desmond Ridder is going to be our starting quarterback in Week 5. I don't know if he said it in Week 5 and beyond, but he may have said going forward. The coach verbiage is a little confusing, but it looks like Desmond Ridder's the quarterback for at least this week. And I honestly think that's a mistake, man. I don't think Taylor Heinicke is a world beater. I think he's somewhere in the 30s in quarterback rankings, but so is Desmond Ridder. And right now, Desmond Ridder isn't working. We talked about it a little bit where everybody's talking about Kirk Cousins of the Jets, and maybe it could be Kirk Cousins here to Atlanta. Not that they're running the crap out of Desmond Ridder, but I just feel like the offense would have to change a little bit. The thing that makes the most sense to me is Ryan Tannehill. I know that they just won on Sunday, so they're 2-2. It's not like they're 0-4 and they're out of it and looking to move on, but let's say somehow Malik Willis / Will Levis comes and takes that job from Ryan Tannehill before the trade deadline. I think that makes way too much sense. Arthur Smith, familiar play caller for him, coming from Tennessee as the offensive coordinator. They need a quarterback change here in Atlanta, and I see what Tampa Bay's doing. I see what New Orleans is doing. I think that if you put Ryan Tannehill here, this is the far and away favorite in the NFC South, in my opinion. This
Why
is a
not Malik Willis? We talked about Malik Willis at one time.
yeah, but I think Tennessee wouldn't trade away Malik Willis to keep Tannehill
They've
as the
been
starter.
actively shopping him before the season.
I think they maybe had a little bit more confidence in Tannehill. I haven't heard anything of them saying that they're going to shop Willis since the season started.
Yeah.
Maybe there is rumblings. I just don't see any
Why would it
reason for
change,
them to
though?
do that. I get it,
Like,
but I don't see
that's a
any
good
reason
point.
for them to do that right now, because I do think that what they've got right now, not to turn this into a Tennessee thing, I think they just want to see who wins that second spot between Willis and Levis. And if they are like, all right, the season's over, Tannehill, you're either getting traded out of here, we're just going to sit you down for the rest of the year, see what we got in these young guys. Hell, they might honestly alternate games of just like, all right, we're going to start Malik Willis this week, we're going to start Will Levis this week, whoever plays the best gets to play next week, and do that for the rest of the year. I don't know. But I just think that whether it be Taylor Heinicke, whether it be Kirk Cousins, whether it be Ryan Tannehill, I don't care who it is, it can't be Desmond Ridder for the rest of the season. This is a team that, this isn't one of the worst teams in the league. Take the quarterback off the field and play with 10 guys. This is still a team that's not going to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. They can still win football games. This defense has been playing a lot better than it did in seasons past. The running game is obviously fantastic. They can win games. They're not going to be in this Caleb Williams, Drake May, whatever quarterback you want to talk about at the top of the draft. they're going to have to find ways to get a veteran or figure this shit out with Desmond Ridder, and I just don't think that they can. I don't think that Desmond Ridder's got it to be a starting quarterback in this league long term. I mean, you see he's even losing the locker room a little bit. He tried to dap up Matt Collins after what I was imagining is a Desmond Ridder pick, and Matt Collins, like I like literally stood up like he wanted to hit him. Not even like it wasn't like a brush off, like a man, like get out. It was like okay,
I want the smoke.
We're going right now. You and me, just for a dap.
And then Desmond immediately like disconnects and starts walking the other way. Like I was like, oh my god. First of all, why does Matt Collins think that he deserves targets over, say, Kyle Pitts, who maybe should be screaming in Ritter's face instead? But that's either here nor there. But go ahead.
Everybody needs to be screaming in Arthur Smith's face because this very clearly isn't working. We trade for Gardner Minshew. Like, see what you can do to get him in the building. I don't know if Indianapolis would be willing to move him, especially with Anthony Richardson maybe struggling with some concussions, and having a good backup is very valuable in this league. But if you give up a certain level of draft pick to go get Gardner Minshew, I'm sure they'll
Jacoby Brissett.
Somebody, anybody. Jacoby Brissett, somebody. Like, you got to make a change at some point. I mean, like I said, he's kind of losing the locker room a little bit, and I think that at a certain point, Arthur Smith's going to lose the locker room, similar to the way that we were talking about earlier this week with Robert Saleh and Zach Wilson, where it's like, if you keep running this guy out there and the defense is playing well, the running game's well, and he just keeps losing football games. He had 3 turnovers in this game. He had a pick 6 that cost them 7 points. He had a fumble at the end of the game that ended the game for this team. You're going to lose guys. You're going to start to lose the buy-in, and once you lose the buy-in, especially on a team like this where if they are feisty and they are inspired and going out there and hitting hard and running hard, they could win this division and be a playoff team. If you lose that goes away.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's really not – I think you covered just about all of it there. I mean, Desmond Ridder does not deserve a starting quarterback job in the NFL right now. I mean, it's pretty clear to anybody who's been watching, and as you said – the whole team around him is built to be successful. And one thing that we didn't talk about a lot, but this offensive line is one of the better groups in the league, correct?
Yeah, and I mean, hasn't been as good as it was during last season, but it's still been very good. And it's not like, we talked about it with Houston. I mean, you look at the situation that CJ Stroud's dealing with and how, the weapons around him weren't supposed to be good. And the offensive line really isn't good. He's not in that situation here.
And we talk about quarterbacks who make players better around them, yes. And we're already putting Stroud into that conversation.
Yeah, you don't have to do a whole lot. Just honestly, on this Atlanta team with Bijan, with Tyler Algier, with some solid weapons, with a good offensive line and a good defense, just don't turn the ball over. That's all you have to do. I mean, at a certain point, once we get into the late season, into the playoffs, you got to start making plays as a quarterback, but right now, you just don't turn the ball over. If they don't turn the ball, they're in a 50-50 chance in this game. And just the turnovers 3 times, one that directly resulted in 7 points, and then I think he threw a pick on the very next drive. Like, you're not going to win that way.
No, you can't win that way. And it's frustrating because, like you said, this is a team that should be winning right now, and they're not. They've got the talent to do it, except for the quarterback position. And I mean, you talked about it. Like, the one explanation for Desmond Ridder staying in as starting quarterback is his rushing ability and what it can create. But he's not rushing the ball. I mean, outside of week 2 when he scored that game-winning touchdown, rushes it in. He had 5 attempts, 40 yards. Not that impressive in that game, first of all. And then outside of that, he has yet to break 7 yards on the ground in any other game. So he's not even providing that. I mean, that was like he ran the fastest 40 of any quarterback in recently.
That draft, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, that's what the hype was for Desmond Ridder. And it was like, oh, well, if he's going to be a good fit anywhere, it's going to be Atlanta because he can at least run the ball. But when he's not running the ball, he's literally a paperweight.
Even to the, just real quickly to cover that last effect on losing the locker room, this is the exact same thing they went through last year because Marcus Mariota was looking the same way that Desmond Ridder is right now. And I can, for the guys that have been there for the last 2 years, I mean, God's sakes, can't imagine how Kyle Pitts feels where he's looking around and he's like, he saw the last bit of Matt Ryan where he's running for his life the entire time, and one of the worst red zone quarterbacks ever. And obviously, Kyle Pitts could be one of the best red zone targets ever. He gets Marcus Mariota, he gets Desmond Ridder at the end of the year, and then he gets Desmond Ridder again this year. Like, at some point, fans, the front office, the players, they got to be getting tired of this poor quarterback play shit.
You know, when you mention the fans first, it is not a good
Yeah, do this for the fans, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
do this for they deserve better in Atlanta.
They do.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a tough scene in Atlanta right now, and it seems like Desmond Ridder should be taking a seat. He's not going to be doing it this week, but it should be coming pretty soon because I miss Heinicke time. I miss Heinicke.
And the thing is, I think like he could have a terrible game if he starts next week and he has a terrible game. If he makes 2 good throws, we're all going to be over the moon because we're like, oh my God, it's Heinicke time. He's so back. He's so much better than Ridder. It'll get stale after a few weeks, but just give a punch to this team of some kind.
He's going to have that pylon diving touchdown in the first week that he starts, and that'll be the only highlight. And everything else he'll throw for 50 yards with 3 picks, but that'll be the highlight.
And like that thing that we talked about with him in Washington, where it's just like he knows I cannot make this play by myself, but Terry McLaurin can. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, those are guys where you just like kind of blindly throw them the ball and just be like, they have a better chance of converting this in first down or, getting 4 or 5 yards here than I do, doing anything like quarterback wise, running wise, whatever. Like,
and I guess as a young quarterback, he's afraid of making those mistakes because it will reflect badly upon him going forward in the future. But like Heinicke, he doesn't give a shit at this point. Like, I mean, like you said, he's just
and everything
tossing
is house
it up
money
to
for him.
Talented players, right? Exactly. So like, it doesn't matter. Just give Heinicke a chance. I want to see it.